Right to buy and joint borrower sole proprietor. Yes, you can get a right to buy property and use joint borrower sole proprietor. I'm going to go through some of the caveats. I'm going to explain some of the things for you to look out for. So, first, let's look at right to buy. You can use the discount as the deposit. It's shocking to me how many people don't know that, but you can use the discount that you get on the right to buy property as the deposit. Most of the right to buy purchases that I support my clients with, they do not come out of their pocket for the deposit. They use the discount as the deposit. Now, you do need money for the other fees, broker fees, legal fees, valuation, etc. But knowing that the deposit is taken care of with the discount is a huge help. Don't wait, things can change. In November of 2025, November 24th to be exact, of 2025, everything changed where it came to right to buy. So they reduced the amount that people could get. So whereas before November 24th, 2025, people were getting £136,000 discounts. That was the maximum. Now it's a lot lower. So don't wait. Things can change. So if you have the opportunity to apply for a council right to buy, make sure you do it. And if your affordability is a bit low, you can also use the joint borrower sole proprietor scheme to boost your income. But don't wait, and make sure you speak to a mortgage broker. The process can take a while. So you want to make sure that you have all your ducks in a row. You want to make sure that you have the right support and a mortgage broker who understands the process, because not every mortgage broker does a lot of right to buy. So they maybe won't understand it as well. And they may not know the one lender in the UK that will allow you to do right to buy and joint borrower sole proprietor. So, yes, there is one lender in the UK that will allow you to use a joint borrower sole proprietor along with a council right to buy. This is huge and it's a game changer for a lot of people. Now, there are caveats. As with everything mortgage related, the devil is in the detail. But if you're dealing with a mortgage broker that has the relationship, and key thing is not going to charge you before they get you qualified, you're on the right path. The benefit of using joint borrower sole proprietor with a right to buy property, especially in London, is quite often, even after the discount, the amount that is needed to be able to qualify for the mortgage could still be quite high. So knowing that you can have a sibling or a parent go on the application to boost the income is an absolute game changer. But as I said, don't pay fees up front, because the criteria is quite strict and it's quite tight, and they have a certain type of support that they want. You don't want someone to say, yeah, I can get it for you. They might be being honest about the fact that it can be done, but if they can't do it for you and you've given them your money, then you're just going to be out of pocket. So make sure you're working with a broker that you know, that you trust, and key thing, make sure that you've been open and honest, because if you haven't given them all the details that they need to be able to make sure that you meet the criteria, you could end up getting a decline, and you don't want that. The mortgage process. Do you understand the mortgage process? Has anyone ever talked you through it? I find that people have all these things running around in their head that they've heard on the internet, TikTok influencers, people that aren't licensed, qualified mortgage brokers. Quite frequently, people put things on social media to get clicks, but they're not licensed mortgage broker. They're not talking to people and banks every day to understand how mortgages work. That's why I'm different. I'm not some guy online who makes 30-second videos to make you laugh. As you've seen, my videos do tend to be a little bit longer because I explain things, because the devil is in the detail. So if I just tell you, well, you can get a mortgage and get 4.5 times your salary, that's not for everybody. So I would rather go into detail, explain the caveats, but more importantly, get the opportunity to speak to you directly, that I can answer your specific questions rather than it being general information. So speak to a broker early, clean up any credit issues. I can't tell you how many times I've started a mortgage for somebody. They've pulled their credit report. They've seen something from some mobile phone company or utility bill, a small payment that has been reported late or a default. And it either means they can't get the best mortgage, or we now have to wait until they've cleaned that up. So start tidying things up early. Any small debts you have, make sure you just pay those things off. It's better to have a lower deposit and have lower outgoings than to have a high deposit and you have a lot of outgoings. Don't forget about other expenses, solicitors, maybe stamp duty. There are other fees involved in the mortgage. But the great thing is, as far as your deposit, the bulk of the money that you're paying down on the deposit, that doesn't come out of your bank account until 2, 3 weeks before you get your keys. So that's good to know. And it also means that if you're putting your money in a high interest savings account, you could be making money each month, especially people who have large deposits. You could be making 100, 200. I had a client that was making about £600 a month in interest on the savings that they had because they had a really large deposit. Now, I'm not here to give you financial advice, tax advice, or legal advice, but you should make sure that you're saving in a way that you're getting the absolute best interest rate that is possible. You're going to need to have tough conversations. If you're planning on getting married, you need to have the tough conversations. Get those conversations out of the way early. As someone that's worked in finance for over 30 years, and I've worked in debt collections, I've worked in wealth management, I've seen it time and time again where a couple are coming in to get a mortgage, and because one of the individuals hasn't been open about the finances, when we start to unpack everything and we see that they're not going to qualify for the best mortgage because one of them has credit issues, you can see the look in the other person's face. So if you have the tough conversations early, resolve these things before you're even in the position to apply for the mortgage, it will make things a lot easier. What about children from previous relationships? One of you or both of you may have children. How does that come into play as far as property and estate planning? You need to talk about that. What about a prenuptial arrangement? It's not just for rich people. There may be reasons why you want to make sure certain assets are protected, not because you don't trust the person or you don't love the person, but there may be reasons. And who do you both trust? Sometimes you'll need a mutual third party that you both know, you both trust, that you can talk about the financial issues. It should be someone who has an understanding of finance. Why not use me? I'll be objective. So feel free to book an appointment with me and we can discuss anything relative to your finances and preparing for a mortgage, your credit report. There's no obligation, there's no fee. I'm here to answer your questions. Estate planning is something that a lot of people neglect to talk about. The fact is, we are all going to die. I know it sounds horrible, and culturally, some people don't like to talk about it, but we're all going to die. And responsible adults have estate plans in place. So if you already have children, it's really important that you have the discussion to make sure that the children from the previous marriage get what you feel they should get, the children from the current marriage. Just have the discussion. Who will be the executor? So if one of you dies or both of you dies, who will be the executor? You should have that discussion. Who will get guardianship of the children? This is something that people forget to discuss. How much life insurance do you need to survive? So if you pass away, how much money will need to be left in order for the surviving spouse to be able to maintain a good lifestyle? Maybe put the kids through college. I don't know, but you need to do the math. You need to have the conversation and don't shy away from it because, as they say, GoFundMe is not a life insurance policy. A lot of people use GoFundMe to pick up the pieces after things haven't been done correctly. But GoFundMe should not be used as an insurance policy. You need to have the right things in place, especially if you're planning on getting married. Have the discussion about life cover, critical illness cover, income protection, all the things that people get like really uneasy about when the mortgage broker brings it up. Have those discussions as a couple to be on the same page, because if you're not on the same page, it will cause conflict. Estate planning is vital and very important, so make sure you talk through it. My name is Anthony Lindsay, and I make these videos to support you and help you improve your financial literacy. Make sure you like, subscribe, and share. And if there's a topic that you'd like to see me discuss that's finance related, just put it in the comments. If you leave a comment, it lets the YouTube algorithm know that the information that I'm sharing is useful to someone. And if you know people who just need impartial advice, need to understand finance better without being sold to, make sure you share my channel. As you see, I don't do 15-second TikToks and I don't do short form content because I feel that these things are important enough to listen to for 20, 30 minutes. I have lots of videos covering off a lot of different things: joint borrower with sole proprietor, buy to let properties, commercial properties, bridging loans, all the different things that I do. But I'm always available. You can check the QR code. You're not going to get through to VA or a PA. If I'm with a client, you'll get my voicemail. If I'm not, I'll pick up and you'll speak directly to me. My email is here. My phone number is here. There's no obligation, and I never charge fees in advance of delivering a service. So be sure to reach out and be sure to subscribe to the channel.